Hello, nice to be here with you all, live from Sweden in Arvika. My name is Stefan Skoglund from DigitalWell Venture. I work as the innovation manager here, and with me is my dear friend and colleague, David.
Hi, my name is David Holm. I'm working as an investment manager at DigitalWell Venture. It's a great pleasure to be here today, 15th of April at your Deep Tech Atelier event. We're really looking forward to discuss startups, health tech, and deep tech today.
Yes, so we're thinking we're going to have a discussion here and about DigitalWell Ventures, what we do and why we do what we do, and also a bit about emerging tech and why this is important to be part of this revolution that we're into right now. So first of all, just a short background about you, David, and what you're doing more than this.
Hi. Yeah, I've been working in the IT business for about 25 years, mostly within management consulting. The last 5 years, I've been running a venture studio out of Oslo, where we've been working with a lot of deep tech companies, actually, and emerging tech companies in Norway, Sweden, and across Nordics, and 1 or 2 Baltic companies as well, actually.
Yeah. And I'm Stefan Skoglen, I'm an entrepreneur, and for the last 5 years, I've been working for the Compare Foundation in Sweden, working together with the ICT sector to create a better environment for the ICT companies here in our part of the Western Sweden called the region of Värmland. And for the last year, together with some colleagues, we have developed DigitalWell Venture, which is an accelerator for digital health and welfare companies in Sweden, in Norway, in the Nordic and the Baltics. So we have a really international approach regarding which companies we are working with in this sector.
And to add to that a little bit, one of the reasons why we choose to bring in 8 countries together and not only 5, which is typically the 5 countries in Nordics, is that we feel this really close relationship culturally with the Baltic states and particularly with Latvia. So we are extra proud to be here today with you guys.
So what is DigitalWell Ventures actually? Can you give us a short pitch, David?
Sure. In short, DigitalWell Ventures is an accelerator program for health tech startups. And with health tech, we mean digital companies. We don't do, for example, cure for cancer, although that's a great thing. What we do is we focus on the digital aspects of things. Could be telemedicine, could be different kind of artificial intelligence solutions, could be 3D solutions, either inside the hospital for clinical use or outside the hospital for non-clinical use.
And DigitalWell Venture is a part of a national initiative called DigitalWell Arena, where we work together with the public sector, together with investors and startups to create the best environment possible for startups within this sector. And why do you think that this initiative has been initiated by the Swedish innovation agency, Vinnova?
I think it's several reasons for that. The main reason, of course, is to bring an international aspect to development to startups. It's not enough to look at your own domestic market. You really have to go beyond the border, look out in European Union, and even go out in the world. So I think to be born global as a startup, in this case, Swedish startup with the Vinnova eyes on, I think it's a good kind of entry point for that. Having said that, it's exactly the same prerequisites, whether you're a Norwegian, Latvian, or a Finnish startup as well.
Yeah, and from my perspective, I think it's very difficult to succeed with a startup, of course, in any sector, but especially in the health sector, because there's so many regulations, you have to work close with the public sector usually, and so on to succeed. So I think that is something that DigitalWell Arena as an initiative wants to facilitate, to make it easier for startups to make this possible. And the accelerator program is a part of that.
Exactly. So you have to look at it as one piece in the big puzzle, of course. Obviously, there's a big funding from the government, both from EU and from the Swedish government, to create DigitalWell arena and all the test beds associated with that. But from the accelerator perspective and the startup perspective, it's actually a great value because we now enable the startups to have access to these test beds, which can be tremendous value. Because obviously to test things in a public environment is not so easy, and especially not outside your own country if you're a startup. This we can provide in the accelerator program.
Yeah, definitely. And I know, David, that you have worked very close together with mentors and have been building an international mentor program here. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, it links back to what we previously discussed with the Born Global sort of approach, that we shouldn't really limit ourselves to our own country. We should look out there. So what we've done is that we created an international mentorship program with about 60 worldwide mentors. All are specialized mentors in its own field. It could be tech experts, it could be business experts, it could be IPR experts that have really niche competence in patents, in intellectual property, and even CE, for example, or compliance, because we're talking about market access in health tech as an edge. Normally, if you want to sell something that's electronical or even an app these days with a cybersecurity aspect, you need to have a government approval to be able to do that. And for many, that's a hurdle. So that's a very important part of the program and very important part of the competences that we put together in the international mentorship program. So basically what we do in practice is that we have sessions, it's about once a week, where the expert mentors actually run sessions within their specific field with each and any one of our startups. Over and above that, we also created groups where these mentors together, up to 5 mentors, actually work around the startup and help them throughout the path of the accelerator program.
I also know that you've been working with the investors very closely here to build up also the capitalization opportunities for these companies. Can you tell us a bit about the investor network and the events that you and me do regarding this?
Yeah, sure. Obviously, competence is crucial. We are running something called the IRL process when it comes to checking out where are all the startups in the development phases at all times. And at the moment, there's 6 different IRLs, meaning that we follow them. Think about it as a barometer from 0 to 9, where we see, okay, this is where you are on technology level, the TRL, as probably most of you know about. This is where you are on the IPR. This is where you are on the business side, so on and so forth. But funding is very important. And to be able to follow funding is not so easy as you go out and talk to investors. You also have to bring the investors in at an early phase. So what we do is that we create a community for investors and link that community to the startups for the beginning. And we're running these events about bi-monthly, where we discuss different topics together with the investors and with the startups. And the next one we're going to have now, actually, today, 15th of April.
Yeah, so perfect. So I think this approach with working closely together with the public sector is very interesting as well. So what specifically is the work that's being done regarding this? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yes, specifically there's, I'd say there's 2 sides of the story when we're talking business to government.
Yes.
The first side is obviously what we discussed, where you have a physical kind of sandbox environment. You enable startups to come in and test things quite fast. That's one thing. But the other thing, which is actually more difficult, is the procurement process, where public sector actually have to acquire. Because what happens when you test something and it works? What are you going to do then? You need to sell it, right, to the government. And selling something to the government is not so easy for a startup, is it?
No.
So that's actually a project that we have running now parallel to the traditional accelerator, and we call it a demand-led accelerator, where we actually bring in the government to define a problem, and then we help the government solve the problem with the startups. So we actually turn the whole acceleration process upside down a bit and work together with the government to solve it.
Yes, and you say the government, but we also mean the municipalities and the regions.
Every level.
Every level.
From municipal to regional to even state levels.
Yeah. So I think that's a great opportunity because it's so difficult. You cannot just take the phone and call these people and get a meeting. So you have to have these shortcuts, and that's what DigitalWell Ventures is, I think.
And I think you actually touched a very, very important question here, and that is the municipal level. Because what we're talking about a lot here is preventive care, i.e. to let the, I wouldn't say patients, people to stay out of the hospital system as long as possible, because this is really what the cost is. Once you are sick, it's very expensive to mediate it. But if you can keep out of hospital and stay at home and live a healthy life at a long time, this is very, very important. So this is where we put a lot of efforts in our digital solutions, and with startups having those things. So preventive care as long as possible.
Yeah, because it saves a lot of money for the government, and that's a very, very important issue for the health costs for the future. Exactly. And in this way, we as an accelerator can reduce the cost together with our startups for the governments and the municipalities and the regions and so on. So it's very exciting. So what regarding exciting things? So I know that you're a fan of new technology and everything that happens regarding the future. So what do you see the coming years here? What will be the most exciting emerging techs, do you think?
I think it's so easy to sit down and list all the different emerging techs from, big data, analytics, artificial intelligence, machine learning, 5G, you name it. But really what it's all about, it's the convergence of different kind of emerging techs put together. Because really in the end, it's a system we're talking about. It's like an engine. I think it's a pretty good analogy. So if you have an engine, you need fuel. And the fuel in this case would definitely be data, big data. The more data you have, the more you can do with it, right? But to be able to sort out what's important in all this data, it's too much for people to do manually. So we need machine learning algorithms and AI algorithms to be able to do that. And then we need some kind of analytics set to get insights out of it so that we can do an action. So I would say definitely, I wouldn't point on one. I would say the convergence of different kind of emerging techs is really gonna change our lives in the future.
That's a really interesting perspective, because usually you only talk about one thing, but of course a car is combined with all these things. Exactly. So that's a thing that you can think about when you're designing your business model as well, to see which of these things can you use.
And I must add that when you look at how far we got with government implementation with emerging tech, I'm very impressed with what I've seen down in the Baltics, and particularly down in Latvia. Because you're a small country, you adapt much faster to these kind of technologies that we are used to in, for example, Norway and Sweden, where things tend to take long. And still, we are ahead in Norway. We are top 10, but you guys in Balticum, you are faster than us. So I think we have a lot to learn, actually, from that aspect.
Yeah, really, I agree. So if you want to contact us, you can check out the website, digitalwellventures.com. And of course, we're very active on the LinkedIn for DigitalWell Ventures. So look us up and follow us there. You can see the mentors are being presented and the companies that we work with are being presented, and a lot of other exciting information coming up in the LinkedIn feed. And of course, you can add us as well. And we can have discuss your startup or your questions regarding the Swedish and Norwegian market with you on LinkedIn or email and so on.
And a big thanks to Commercialization Reactor in Latvia and to Magnetic Latvia for inviting us to the event. Thanks a lot.
Yeah, really exciting. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Bye.